And just giving yourself some time to settle into this posture, into your practice. And you may wish to close your eyes, or alternatively softening the gaze. I'm just giving you the invitation to give up on any striving that might be apparent in the practice. Sometimes we're quite aware of the gross nature of striving, but we can sometimes be doing this more subtle striving as we come into practice. So having a feeling of being grounded through the body, being aware of the contact points that the body is making with the chair or the surface that you're lying upon. And our intention really is to simply keep the mind, the attention, the awareness in the same place as the body. The body is always in the present moment. And seeing if we can let go of whatever's been before and not anticipating what's to come next. Simply being here in the stillness, in the quiet, in the body. Just as we're aware of the body sat here or lying here, we can also be aware of the breath. The faithful breath that returns again and again, which can almost go unnoticed. So just bringing your attention to the breath. And noticing the relationship the breath has with the body, the way in which the breath moves and rocks the body, how the body's never really still. And we're always trying to practice with gentleness, a compassion to ourselves in the practice. But we're also trying to be awake and alert. So trying to find this sweet spot. Easeful and alert. Whatever posture we've chosen, we can try and feel stable within the posture. Often this is helped by having an upright, aligned spine if we're sitting. We're just ensuring if we're lying that we have this alignment through the spine. It's sort of adopting a grace and a dignity in practice. And if we get pulled off into thought, which is entirely natural, just kindly bringing our attention back to the body, back to the breath in the body. Having this feeling of groundedness through either the body or the breath. We can use either of them as an anchor for our attention. And we can have this sense of being held by the surface that we're resting upon, whether that be the seat or the bed, the floor. And also resting back into the earth itself. Just giving ourselves permission to be with any quietness, any peace within this practice. Seeing if we can slip behind any chatter that's in the mind. Finding this place of stillness. Noticing if there's any tenderness within the heart space as we give up this need to be productive. Allowing ourselves to simply be. If the mind has wandered, just gently bringing it back without the need for criticism or judgment. And this is the practice, noticing that the mind has wandered and gently leading it back to the breath, to the body. And as we begin to bring this short grounding practice to a close, just seeing if we can continue to rest in this present moment as we take a minute and transition into the next practice. You may wish to bring a little movement into the body, have a stretch or a drink of water. So if we're already coming to the second part of the practice, and today that's going to be a practice on our strength and vulnerability. So just taking a few moments to gather your awareness and come back to whatever is your chosen posture. You're welcome to change postures for the second practice. And so let's gather the awareness once more around the breath. And just noticing that the breath has a strength of its own, an agency, a vitality, an energy. And you might like to follow the inhale and the exhale, the cycle of the breath, and also being aware of the pauses, these peaceful pauses between the breaths. And there's this invitation to notice what strength exists for you here in this present moment within the body, within the visceral body. Might be our muscles, our energy, our vitality. Sometimes our posture can be a source of strength, this dignity that we have in the posture. We can be aware of all the hard elements within the body, the bone, the skeleton, the strength of this body, the hardness within this body, and also all the softness, the muscle, the fat, tendons, the organs, and all the strength that they contain. And even when we're not well, our body will be working with incredible fortitude and strength. So leaning into whatever feels resourcing for you, strength however imperfect. And noticing if any thoughts are arising, any resistance. Sometimes we associate strength with power, with force. So seeing if we can include it in our practice. Any resistance that we might have, seeing if we can work with this. And always knowing that we have the safety of returning to the body, to the breath, of having these anchors. If we can embrace strength in the wholeness of our experience, in the breath, in the body, and also in the emotions and the mind. What strength, what emotional strength may we feel in this moment? And this may manifest as a courage or a calmness, a surety. And just tapping into, leaning into whatever's here for you can be gently affirming. Seeing if we can be resourced by our sense of strength. However that arises for you in this moment, in this practice. We're now going to embrace, to consider our vulnerability. And this doesn't sit in opposition to our strength. To be human is to be vulnerable. This vulnerability is also part of our experience. What arises when you consider your vulnerability? You can do this with a gentleness, with a soft focus. We don't have to dive in too deeply. Having an opening, courage to be with our vulnerability, whether that be within the body or within our emotional life or our minds. This can also be very resourcing. allows us to be authentic. Allows us to show up for other people, have this empathic regard. If we understand our vulnerability, we can sometimes over-identify with the need to be in control. Always present as strong, as capable. But embracing this vulnerability, these vulnerable parts of ourselves, allows us also to have a different kind of strength. How open is my heart in this moment? You may notice some resistance. You can simply be aware of whatever's arising. Always giving ourselves permission to take care of ourselves. Being aware of our vulnerability allows us to skillfully work with these emotions. We can provide ourselves with soothing, with comfort, with care. If we're not constantly having to protect our vulnerability, to hide it or conceal it, we can be more at home in our lives, live more easily. So sitting in these last few moments with a sense of both our strength and our vulnerability. And perhaps seeing that they're not so far apart. They are part of our experience. They connect us to each other, this common humanity. This is a short poem, a short excerpt from a poem by Derek Walcott called Love After Love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. So holding this strength and vulnerability with a gentleness, with a compassion. If you wish, with a hand on your heart. Letting it all be, they're not separate. Having a sense of befriending our experience. And just slowly and in your own time, starting to bring this practice to a close. There's no rush or hurry. Okay, have you ended the recording, Neil, please? Thank you.